In a world of noise, find your quiet reflection. At BibleTales963.store, we believe faith is woven into the fabric of everyday life. Our carefully curated collection brings timeless stories to modern living, from scripture-inspired jewelry that keeps His Word close to your heart, to home decor that transforms your space into a sanctuary of peace. Our apparel doesn't just clothe you, it empowers you to be a walking testament. Each item is more than a product, it's a conversation starter, a reminder, a blessing. At BibleTales963.store, we're not just selling items, we're nurturing faith. Your journey of faith is unique. Let us help you express it. BibleTales963.store. Wear your faith, share your story.
Leviticus, often seen as a book of ancient rituals and laws, holds profound relevance for modern times. Chapters 17 to 27 offer a blueprint for holy living, emphasizing the sacredness of life, relationships, and worship. At the heart of these chapters lies the concept of holiness. God, being holy, desires His people to be holy as well. This holiness encompasses every aspect of life, not just ritualistic purity. Through a detailed set of laws, Leviticus outlines the path to holiness, covering sacrifices, dietary regulations, sexual conduct, and social justice. These laws served as guidelines for the Israelites, newly freed from slavery, to establish a distinct identity as God's chosen people. Leviticus 17 emphasizes the sacredness of blood and the importance of proper sacrifice. All sacrifices must be offered at the tent of meeting, centralizing worship and preventing pagan practices. By designating a specific place for sacrifice, God emphasized His uniqueness and sovereignty. Leviticus 17 strictly prohibits the consumption of blood, stating, "The life of every creature is its blood." This prohibition stemmed from the belief that blood represented life and was sacred to God. The Israelites were to drain the blood of any animal they slaughtered and cover it with earth, symbolizing the returning of the animal's life to God. This reverence for blood extended to include purification rituals for anyone who came into contact with blood. The prohibition underscores a deeper principle, recognizing the sanctity of life. God, as the giver of life, reserves the right to determine how life is to be treated. Leviticus 18 addresses sexual ethics, setting clear boundaries for sexual relationships. It condemns various sexual practices, including incest, adultery, and homosexuality, establishing a moral framework for society. These prohibitions were intended to reflect God's covenant relationship with His people. Any act that violated this covenant, such as adultery, was seen as a direct offense against God and a threat to the community. Leviticus 18 also emphasizes respect for women during menstruation, highlighting sensitivity and respect within marriage. The sexual ethics outlined in Leviticus promote purity, fidelity, and respect within relationships. They remind us that God cares deeply about our sexuality and desires for it to be expressed within the boundaries of love, commitment, and mutual respect. These principles, though often misunderstood, were intended to promote a healthy and respectful society. Leviticus 19 expands on the concept of holiness, emphasizing that it should permeate every aspect of life. It calls for honoring parents, observing the Sabbath, and showing compassion for the poor and vulnerable. The command to love your neighbor as yourself stands as a cornerstone of biblical ethics. This statement challenges us to extend love and compassion to others, regardless of their social standing, ethnicity, or beliefs. Leviticus 19 condemns various forms of injustice, highlighting the importance of integrity and fairness. The call to holiness extends beyond personal piety to encompass social responsibility. True faith should manifest in tangible acts of love, justice, and compassion towards others. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. To support this channel, visit our Christian-themed store at BibleTales963.store. Every purchase really helps to bring you more content. Leviticus 23 outlines the calendar of Israel's sacred festivals, marking specific times for worship, celebration, and remembrance. These festivals, including Passover, Pentecost, and the Festival of Booths, served as tangible expressions of faith and reminders of God's faithfulness. Each festival held deep theological significance, such as Passover commemorating the Israelites' deliverance from slavery. Pentecost celebrated the giving of the law at Mount Sinai, reaffirming the covenant relationship between God and his people. The Festival of Booths was a joyful harvest celebration, reminding the Israelites of God's provision. These festivals provided a rhythm of worship and remembrance, shaping the spiritual life of the Israelites. They remind us of the importance of incorporating times of celebration, reflection, and gratitude into our own spiritual journeys. Leviticus 25 introduces the concepts of the sabbatical year and the Jubilee, demonstrating God's concern for social justice and economic equality. Every seventh year was to be a sabbatical year for the land, a time of rest and rejuvenation. During this year, the land was to lie fallow, and debts were to be forgiven. The Jubilee, occurring every 50th year, was a year of even greater restoration, with land returned to original owners and slaves set free. These institutions reflect God's heart for the poor and marginalized. They remind us that our pursuit of wealth should never come at the expense of others. The principles underlying the sabbatical year and the Jubilee challenge us to address issues of economic inequality and exploitation. True shalom, or peace, encompasses not only personal well-being but also social justice and the flourishing of all. Leviticus 26 concludes with a presentation of blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. Obedience to God's laws would result in blessings such as abundant harvests, peace, and victory over enemies. Disobedience would lead to curses such as disease, famine, drought, and exile. This passage served as a powerful motivator for the Israelites, highlighting the consequences of their choices. The blessings and curses were not merely about material prosperity or physical safety. They reflected the spiritual reality that turning away from God would lead to brokenness and suffering. Aligning oneself with God's will would result in wholeness, flourishing, and abundant life. Choosing to live in accordance with God's will leads to life, peace, and joy, while disregarding his ways leads to pain and separation from him.